minus 35.8. So this is basically a minus 40 weather. And minus 40 is minus 40. And by that I mean minus 40 Celsius is minus 40 Fahrenheit.
In this video, we strive to give you a taste of what it's like farming in minus 40 weather. Of note, there were several video recording equipment issues on this day, including the Rode microphones freezing halfway, the GoPro battery giving cold weather warnings near the end, and of course keeping the drone flight short so it didn't fall out of the sky. We'll start this video with Amy listing off key points about keeping the animals from freezing in this weather, then follow Mike and Amy doing chores together, a rare occurrence at their little farm.
When people are like, well, how do you keep the animals like warm in this temperature? The main thing is picking your breeds. So all the breeds on our farm were picked specifically for our winter. They're all heritage breeds, old breeds that maybe our ancestors would have raised. They're not common kind of more commercial breeds, and they were chose specifically because of our weather here. So when we started the farm, we looked at breeds that we felt comfortable working with, but that would do well in our climate. So like ruminants, like the cows and the sheep, that's how they kind of stay warm as they eat, and then so it activates the microbes in their stomach, and they just eat and eat and eat, and it just generates tons of heat. And then just making sure they have tons of feed, and then they have water. And shelter, so most of them have shelter, like the sheep all have shelter, the chickens have shelter. We have so many cows and we don't have a barn, but we have breeds that are bred for this weather, and they have a big forested area. So they just kind of go in the forest and just do their thing.
Do you still have pigs?
We don't have pigs right now. They're butchered and gone, but we'll get pigs this spring. So we get pigs in the spring because then it pairs up when the cows go into milk, and then we feed the pigs the whey and everything for milking.
So this might go back to heritage breeds, but obviously sheep, it's more the wool that keeps them warm in their insulation. The pigs, it would have been the fat?
Yeah, they're pretty durable. Pigs are better, I think, in the cold. They have a good fat layer, and then you give them tons of hay or straw, and they just burrow like right underneath. Pigs do better, I think, in cold weather, from what I can tell, than hot weather. So each animal is different in how you would manage it for temperatures, seasons, and things like that. So.
And I think you said this off camera, but your chicken are in a little building, and they generate tons of heat, you said.
Yeah. So
and it's more the humidity, sorry to cut you off, but the humidity that you have to control after that.
Yeah, like there's enough in there that they generate. So they have an indoor portion, a fully insulated indoor coop. And then they do have an outside portion as well. So we barriered that off just to protect from wind and snow. And there's fresh straw in there. So they have access to either or. But when it's this cold out, like they won't go out. They won't venture out because it's just so cold. So right now their job is just to eat, drink water. We give lots of hen scratch, and we bump up their protein in their food so they get lots of heat and they can kind of stay warm. They fluff up their feathers, but right now, yeah, their focus is just basically on keeping warm. But if you have, there's different ways to add heat to, like, you can do like a deep litter method in your coop. So that's like a active compost in the bottom of your coop. So that helps to generate heat. Stocking your chickens. But at the end of it, yeah, it's controlling kind of your humidity and stuff. So just making sure you have proper ventilation and stuff like that. So fed, because we try and feed them before. We try and watch the weather. And if there's a big cold snap coming, then we start the tractor, make sure they have tons of feed. And we fed them kind of in the forest because there's an area there. Oops, the dog. It's called the meadow. We call it the meadow on the farm. And so it's an opening area, but it has trees all the way around it. And that's naturally their favorite place to go to when it gets this cold and windy. So we just fed them right there. So they have their bedding, they eat, they just kind of don't do much but eat. And then we just keep an eye on the water to make sure it doesn't freeze up, and that's kind of it.
That's all very interesting.
Yeah, it's like an art form with all the animals. It's interesting. Each one is really different. So.
Okay, I'm with Mike and Amy Lewis here. We're gonna go do a round of chores in minus 35, minus 40 weather, and this is how they're dressed for the occasion. Got coveralls and insulated coveralls, I take it.
Yep.
Dukes and warm mitts.
Wool underneath, wool base layer.
There we go. Let's go. Watching we'll do this morning will be very efficient, right?
Oh yeah.
You don't want to take any extra time in this
No.
pool.
Can we get the water then?
Yeah, or if you get the feed, or doesn't matter.
You got feed, I'll
Okay.
get water.
We're gonna divide. He's gonna get the water from inside, then I'll just mix up our feed. Do we need the sleigh then? We probably don't.
We might, depending on how we feed the sheep, yeah. I'd bring.
Is there anything else we need? You have everything in there?
No.
So first stop is the chickens?
Yeah. First stop, and then that way we can check to make sure if there's any eggs right away that they're not frozen too. So
Okay.
you often have to
Did you
check.
forget the chicken bucket? Do you want me to go get the chicken bucket, hon?
Oh, no, it's okay.
And then usually about 10 to 15 degrees warmer in here than outside.
So hence the concern for possible frozen eggs then.
That's right.
Yeah. So we usually check, I don't know, at least three times a day, once in the morning and once midday, and then once in the afternoon. This one laid for some reason.
They know to huddle together to get some more.
Like the darker ones, that big rooster, the light ones, those are heritage breeds. So they're a dual purpose bird. You could use them for meat or eggs. These ladies are just mainly eggs only, and they have a kind of a shorter laying span than sometimes the heritage ones. But yeah, so these ladies are commercial. They're just kind of more docile, more tame.
Come out here.
Yeah, so they have another area.
As Mike is saying here, this is the other area when it does warm up that they could come out to, but it's not as insulated as what we just saw.
That's right. Yeah, about -20. We'll let them out here, and they'll scratch and peck, and that's a nice area for them to get out. Put hen scratch out here, and they can scratch it up and stuff. But
And does this one have the ground cover with the compost, or?
well, it's basically just straw. That's all. It's all
That compost.
So this is shavings in here.
Yeah.
We used to do the deep litter. So basically, deep litter compost is basically where you would just leave it so they would poop and pee, and over time that would turn into actual compost, and you keep adding and adding and adding.
Okay. But that's not what that is, right?
No, right now we had cleaned it out and we put fresh shavings.
Yeah.
And then once this kind of gets saturated, we'll scoop it out and haul it to our compost pile.
So it does go.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it does. Absolutely. None of the bedding or anything is wasted. It all goes to a massive compost pile, and then we churn it. So there's pros and cons to using the deep litter.
Yeah.
So we just kind of went back to this method because you have to really be on top of it with deep litter, because then come spring, the ammonia and everything like that, if it's not balanced properly. So we just, shavings and straw, and try and keep it warm and dry for them. And yeah, we have 2 of the ventilation, and we could probably actually maybe have more. And there's also a window that opens, and then we can also kind of crack the door. But you want to get the humidity out, keep the heat in, and then no drafts. So it's kind of a balancing. Mics are freezing. It's so cold.
Mike, are you freezing?
Personally?
I said the mics are freezing. I said, Mike, are you freezing? It's a dad joke. There has to be a dad joke in every video. Yeah, I didn't notice where that one froze. All right, here they come. They're getting fed. They're kind of struggling between eating and being scared of me right now. So these are the same one. These are all the ewes, right?
Yeah, these are young ewes,
Yeah.
so they're not going to be bred. They're just,
That's not the pen you wanted me to stay out of.
No, there's no rams in here. You can come in if you want.
The white one, that stain friendly one that was over there that came back?
Yeah, they're all
finish because they're not sure.
Gracie, get along with them? Hey. So Mike, how did you guys get into to sheep?
I know she wanted to get into fiber arts, so I surprised her. We went and picked one up, and then kind of the running joke was you can't just have one sheep, so we ended up getting some from Fairview, I think.
Yeah.
And then then it started, and now we have a lot of sheep now. So and they multiply very quickly. So
It's your main livestock? Sheep?
sheep
or
and
chicken?
cows.
Or you got a lot of cows too?
Not a lot, but I guess we have 10 cow-calf pairs and 2 bulls.
Okay.
So it keeps us busy. But yeah, I really enjoy the sheep. Like they're friendly and they're fluffy and they're good with the boys too. So they're nice. So this is the frost-free bib. So the valve's about 10 feet down, and hopefully it'll work good. It should, but.
So I was envisioning that they were tethering on it and they would come out.
Oh no, this is all manual.
It's just on location
You
water,
betcha.
so you don't have to haul it so far.
The cows have an automatic water that just feeds the trough for them, and they can drink from there, so that we don't have to haul manual or anything. But we just put this in
Well, 2 years.
2 years ago.
Oh, these look tinier yet, but these are the older ones?
Some are old, some are first year breeders. So there's the one ram there. There's the other ram with the bigger horn.
Yeah.
And then some of these, the bigger ones are like second or third year mamas. But the little ones are basically going to be first time mamas next year.
Yeah. The reason we met you guys is we're looking for grass-raised, grass-finished liver. And you guys are known to be, you're recommended by another livestock company in the area that were the ones that are doing that. And you do that with all your livestock.
Yeah. Yeah, no grain. So they all get...
And that's a conscious decision that you wanted for your family, hence you do it. That's your niche, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the kind of beef we wanted for our family, and wanted grass finished. And we couldn't really find, so we just got into it, and that was the whole purpose behind the farm, was being in control of our food and eating kind of the type of food that we wanted to. So
there's a client base that's what they're asking for.
Yeah, it's definitely like, and I find it growing. There's more people wanting to kind of eat, a grass finished product. They're looking for it specifically. So.
Lucky we did bring the sleigh.
That's right, yeah. It's nice to feed them out in the pasture, so that way they can, poop and pee out here and fertilize. And then also it feeds the soil instead of just feeding in one area.
Good thinking.
So I'll probably do 2 trips, today?
I think so. So that's where they ate. That was full of hay yesterday. And that's how much they'll eat. And then all what's left goes back into the soil to build it, to add carbon matter. And then also feeding on the ground keeps their fleeces cleaner too. So for fiber, you have to think about that as well. It's not just, when you have fiber sheep, you always have to think about the quality of the wool and the wool too.
Oh yeah. So this goes without saying, but I gotta say it would be really cruel to shear your sheep in October.
Yeah. Unless you had a barn. If you had an indoor barn or something like that, then some people do.
Oh.
So like our Icelandic, you can see Willow there, the one that had the unicorn that has the one.
Yeah.
So she's an Icelandic, so you can actually shear them 2 times a year.
Okay, and what's the other breed?
Shetland.
Shetland and Icelandic sheep.
Yeah, so from Iceland and Scotland, that's where they kind of originate.
What about their feet? Do they get cold on their feet or?
They do. You can see sometimes they lift up their feet It's just like they get sometimes snow jammed in there. So, but they'll get through it. They have like the straw area. That's where they spend most of the time. But they'll come in and eat, and it just kind of gets in between their hooves sometimes, and they.
Mike taking a second trip out in the middle. So we're not going to go to the cattle. They're taken care of before the cold spell.
That's right, yeah, we fed them, but usually we do check on them just to make sure their salt minerals topped up, but just to make sure they're up and feeding and up on their feet, and we always check the cattle water as well. But they're just only a 5-minute walk from where we feed the other flock of sheep, so we usually do take a spin out there.
A smaller breed of cow, they're triple purpose, so you can milk, meat, and use for draft power. And then we have one...
Wait, back up. Draft power?
Like ox, like pulling.
Oh.
Yeah.
Do you do that?
Not yet. I'd love to try.
Just for the vintage nature of it?
Some people use them for like pulling farm equipment and stuff too.
So in case there's a diesel outage, then you got... Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. I think it's more prevalent in the States, but I know there are more people in Canada now kind of getting into it. So it's mostly Dexter, and then we have 2 Canadians, which are our milk cows.
And just to show that it is cold, you can see that Amy here, her hair and her eyelashes are getting frosted up.
Yeah, it's my mascara.
Mike, not so much. His neck guard here is a little bit where he's been breathing.
Oh yeah, they're party cows. That was.
And here we come back to warm up in the living room after. This is what Mike and Amy look like without their winter clothes. So Mike and Amy were living in Peace River prior to a little stint in Edmonton, and they came back to Peace River. Nice sunrise in the back there. And it has a little bit to do with your farm name, correct?
That's right, yeah. Maybe you want to tell the story?
Come on, she told me you're the extrovert, Mike.
No, I'm not. No, we did fall in love with the North. We lived in Short Park for 8 years, I guess.
Yeah.
Roughly. And then we got married in 07, and we were talking about starting a family and whatnot. And I'll let Amy take it away from there.
And yeah, and we just really missed Peace River, we missed the Peace Country, and we missed the people, and just I loved growing up in Peace River and missed my family, and we wanted to just kind of buy a chunk of land and just kind of go there. So yeah, we came back home. We just sold our house, sold a bunch of stuff, and quit our jobs and moved up north. So
Were the boys born here, or
yeah,
they were born here as
in
well?
Peace River, yeah, you betcha. Yeah, and so our farm name is Northern Roots Family Farm. So the name is coming home to our roots in the north, and my roots are even more north. Like I had grandparents that lived even more north, so that was kind of a big inspiration. So yeah, coming home to the north, and also coming home to our farming roots. So both of our grandparents were farmers, so it skipped a generation. So yeah,
It's a dream come true in a way, I guess, right?
yeah, it's a lot of work, but we absolutely love it. We love the food that we get to grow and raise, and we love the relationships with our animals and with our customers, and it's kind of it's an awesome little chunk of our piece of heaven up here, so we like it.
Well, I thank you for allowing my little YouTube channel to come out to your farm and your home, and hopefully I'll make it justice on the edit.
Oh, I'm sure you will. Thank you so much for coming.